Welcome back to another explainer. Today we're diving into something truly fascinating. We are unpacking a historical and philosophical text titled Awakening the Spiritual Intelligence, a Manual of Divine Restoration. Now, our goal today is to impartially break down its core concepts, mapping out this really interesting history lesson on lost spiritual traditions. Whether you're already deeply familiar with these concepts, or just kind of curious about how ancient texts view human potential, we're going to give you an incredibly clear roadmap of the author's main arguments.
The manual kicks things off with these powerful, almost haunting lines. Okay, let's dive into this. The text suggests that truth doesn't just magically disappear overnight. Instead, it gets buried. It gets completely obscured under heavy layers of tradition, unquestioned assumptions, and what the author actually calls spiritual forgetfulness. The whole premise here is that our current generation is standing in one of those exact moments. A moment where something that was profoundly obvious in ancient times has been entirely covered up.
Section 1. The Lost Ancient Tradition.
So here is the manual's central paradox. When you look at the early followers of this tradition, the text describes them as living with this vivid, undeniable awareness of the spirit realm. For them, faith wasn't just, a set of rules to memorize. It was an active, breathing experience. They walked with total confidence in a higher authority. But then you contrast that with the modern believer. The author argues that today, people possess the message of salvation, sure, but they totally lack the understanding of the life that salvation actually restored. They believe in the concept of heaven, absolutely, but they struggle to perceive the reality of the spirit world that actively surrounds them. What's really interesting here is this massive shift from an active, daily experience to mere intellectual belief.
And that brings us to a rather tragic conclusion drawn by the text. The result of this historical shift is a generation that loves deeply, that really means well, and man are they busy. They're super active, but ultimately, they are living way, way below the level of awareness that was originally intended for them. They're active, but they are not aligned with their original design.
Section 2. Trapped in the Physical.
Let's walk through this historical timeline together because it's absolutely foundational to the text. Phase 1 is the original era. The idea is humanity was uniquely designed to interact with both the physical and the spiritual realms, literally created to carry divine life. Then we hit Phase 2, the fall era. Something happened and that structure was broken. The spirit that carried this divine awareness became completely disconnected, leaving man to function just on a physical and intellectual level. Enter Phase 3, the first century. The text argues that Christ's coming wasn't merely about religious forgiveness, but actually a fundamental reawakening, a full restoration of that original connected human spirit. And finally, Phase 4, the modern era. We find ourselves in a time where our technical knowledge is just exploding, but our true spiritual understanding is actually decreasing.
I want to slow down here for a second and really focus on this quote. Because of that historical disconnect we just mapped out, the text argues that modern humans are systematically trained to live only by what they can see, hear, and measure. By relying solely on our basic physical senses, the author warns that we unknowingly restrict ourselves to the absolute lowest layer of reality. It's like we're living on the ground floor of a massive skyscraper, entirely unaware that the other floors even exist.
Think about it. Humanity has become incredibly skilled at manipulating the physical world. Just look at our technology, our engineering, our medical advancements. It's wild. Yet, according to this manual, we remain entirely blind and largely unaware of the spiritual forces that actually influence this physical world. We have totally mastered the lowest layer while completely ignoring the rest of the structure.
Section 3. Defining spiritual intelligence. So the crucial point is this exact definition. Spiritual intelligence. The author defines it as the ability to perceive, interpret, and respond to realities that originate beyond the physical realm. It's not about just knowing scripture or history, right? It's an active, working ability. It's a framework for recognizing that the physical world is influenced by an unseen dimension, and having the actual capacity to interpret and interact with that dimension.
The manual stresses that we are entering a time marked by really intense spiritual activity. And in an era like that, relying solely on physical data, just gathering more facts, more statistics, more physical information is entirely insufficient. You just cannot solve a problem that originates in a higher layer of reality using only the tools from the lowest layer. Information alone is not enough. Intelligence, specifically spiritual intelligence, is literally required.
Section 4. Reclaiming your original design.
Right off the bat, the text is very careful to issue a warning. Developing this intelligence? It is not a shortcut. It's not some mystical system meant to give you quick access to power, and it is certainly not a performance. The author is highly critical of anyone who treats the supernatural as a way to just chase wild, flashy experiences. Instead, it's supposed to be the totally natural expression of a life that is properly aligned.
So what does it actually take? Well, the source gives us 3 simple, daily steps to start building this spiritual perception. Step 1. Practice patient observation over your immediate reactions. Just slow down. Step 2. Approach the unseen with genuine humility, completely dropping the need for those flashy experiences. And Step 3. Focus on maturity to rebuild your structural alignment. True spiritual growth isn't just swapping out the information in your head, it is a fundamental transformation of your daily awareness.
Ultimately, the manual serves as a training ground. It gives people a framework to begin interpreting their experiences with real clarity. The author frames the entire text not just as a book to read, but as an invitation, a call to remember what was lost, an invitation to rediscover humanity's original design, and to awaken to the dominion and authority that was intended for us from the very beginning.
We'll wrap up today's explainer with this final, pretty provocative thought for you to reflect on. Take an honest look at your own day-to-day life, your own awareness. Are you unknowingly restricting yourself to the lowest layer of reality? Or are you ready to awaken to your original design? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope mapping this out helped structure these profound historical concepts for you. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next one.